All change is the result of a change in associations rather than just action. You cannot change your life unless you change your associations. If you have been delivered from something and you're still hanging around the same folks who still have the addiction for which you were formerly bound, it'll be a matter of time before that addiction creeps up and the stronghold of what you were suffocates the new person that you are, and you'll be back into the same position. All change is ultimately a result of a change in relationships rather than just actions. That's why when God comes into a person's life and he begins to transform their life, something on the inside of them has changed, and now their friends that used to enjoy them don't enjoy them as much, and then so they stop calling as much and they stop hanging out as much. The associations are changing because all real change is a matter of associations, not merely of actions. If you change your actions but don't change your associations, it'll only be a matter of time before you're back involved in the same actions. So you have to get into an environment where there are people who are ahead of you. You have to get into an environment around those who challenge you. You have to get into an atmosphere where other people are out of their comfort zone. You have to get into an atmosphere of people who really desire change on the inside of them. Get around those who where growth is modeled in their own life, and where they have strong expectations for their life. Get around people who dream big for God. It'll do something on the inside of you. Get around those who are passionate, because passion is contagious. May I say this to you? Properly placed people prevent problems. Now, I know that sounds like Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, but properly placed people prevent problems. This is in your personal life. This is in your business life. Properly placed people prevent problems. Properly placed people prevent problems. Will you say that with me? Properly placed people prevent problems. Norman Schwarzkopf said this, that it's not a person's accomplishment that makes them great. It's who they surround themselves with. It is who they surround themselves with. Have you realized that people don't merely leave bad companies or bad organizations, they leave bad managers, bad bosses, bad supervisors. There are some times that you will just agree to work for less wage if you love the environment of the people that you're working with. But if you're working for somebody, you're making good money, but you can't stand the people that you work with or the people that you work for, it'll be a matter of time before you'll be fed up and you cannot handle it anymore. You don't merely leave bad companies, you leave bad people, bad managers, people who have poor people skill. But remember this. No relationship is a waste of time. If it didn't bring you to what you want, at least it taught you what you don't want. If it didn't bring you what you want, at least it taught you what you don't want. May I say this to you, that trust is the foundation of all decent relationships. You've got to have trust. Trust is the foundation of all decent relationships. George MacDonald said it very well when he said that to be trusted is a greater compliment than to be loved. You ought to work in your life to become a trustworthy person. A trustworthy person. And your life will expand, your influence will expand when people can trust you, when they can trust you. I love something that Henry Stimson said. He said, the chief lesson that I have learned in a long life is that the only way to make a man trustworthy is to trust him. And the surest way to make him untrustworthy is to distrust him and show your distrust. If you want to build trust in your children, trust them and show them that you trust them. If you want to build trust in an employee, trust them and show them that you trust them. It's very interesting. It's the surest way. But if you really want somebody to become dishonest with you, treat them as though they already are dishonest. And people will have a tendency to become the way that you treat them, the expectations, they will rise or fall to the level of expectations that you have set for them. May I just remind you that every person in their life, they need at least 3 vital relationships. Everybody needs a Paul, like the Apostle Paul. Paul was a father. He was a mentor. He was one who could show us the way of how to do particular things. Everybody needs a Paul, somebody to show them the ropes. Mentoring is wisdom without the wounds. It can help us to capitalize on lessons that other people have taken hard knocks to learn. And so everybody needs a Paul in their life. They need a father, they need a mother, they need a mentor, they need a big brother, a big sister, somebody that can teach them the ropes. It will shorten their learning curve in life. Everybody needs a Paul. Secondly, everybody needs a Barnabas. Everybody needs a Barnabas. Barnabas, the name Barnabas means encourager. He was a friend. Everybody needs a Barnabas. Every husband needs a Barnabas in his wife, somebody to encourage him. Amen. Men need a cheerleader who will cheer even when he's losing the game. Have you ever noticed how cheerleaders work? Even if the team is losing, cheerleaders will be on the sidelines with their pom-poms, throwing their hands in the air, saying, "Go Tigers, go!" And whatever it is that they're doing, and they are cheering a losing team. When a man least deserves love, that's when he needs it most. He needs a Barnabas at the time when he's beating himself up. When a woman has messed up, mister, listen, what she needs is not a judge. She doesn't need a coach in her face yelling at her, screaming with veins popping out of the neck, saying, "What were you doing? What were you thinking about? Did you lose your mind here?" He needs somebody in tenderness and compassion and love and honor and respect who will say, "You still my boo." Somebody who will come and still embrace them and love them and encourage them and say, "You know what? We didn't quite get it this time, but you know what? Next time I believe it's yours. Next time it's yours." They need an encourager. This Barnabas relationship is somebody who's not infatuated with who you are. They don't mind telling you the truth about you. They're not stuck on your image. This is somebody who can just be honest with you and shoot from the hip so that they can honestly make you better. Everybody needs a Paul. Everybody needs a Barnabas. And the third relationship is a Timothy. Timothy is the mentee. This is the protege that the mentor pours into. And see, at different times in your life, you can be all 3. You can be somebody's Paul, you can be somebody's Barnabas, and other times, then you can be a Timothy where somebody is pouring into you. But even if you've had people to pour into you, find the Timothys, find the Dorothys, find the Angelas, and learn to pour into them. You have to give it back. Somebody help you, you help them. Give them the benefit of your wisdom. Share your knowledge with them. Find those relationships. Relationships are the essence of life. They are the essence of life. Re-evaluate your relationships that are in your life. Don't waste all of your time with people who don't appreciate your presence, your wisdom, your knowledge. And let me say this to you, that if a person does not respect your time, neither will they respect your wisdom. So use your time wisely, and you don't waste time with people who will not respect your wisdom. Use the wisdom of God in your own heart to be discerning, to find the Timothys of the world, somebody who needs to receive something, who's hungry, who's got a voracious appetite for learning, and pour into them and cultivate in them a desire to be able to have something on the inside of their hearts that can bless them and change them. One of the things, that I will tell Timothys, I said every person needs to carry 2 books with him. One book to read and another book to write some of the things that you learn. From your own personal experiences, from your reading, always carry 2 books. I don't care what form, they can be e-books or however you want to call it, but carry 2 books, one to read and one in which to write the things that impact your life. You need Timothys in your life. You need Pauls in your life. You need Barnabases in your life. And so always treasure these relationships because they add meaning and depth and power to your life in an incredible way. Eleanor Roosevelt said that many people will walk in and out of your life, but only true friends will leave footprints in your heart. And you want people who will leave footprints that are memorable, that you can never forget them once you've had an encounter with them in your life. Now, I want to tell you this. I'm getting ready to set somebody free right now. God made you to be just like a magnet. You will attract some and you will repel some. You've ever noticed how a magnet works? When you take the positive and take the positive end of another magnet, they actually repel each other. You can't get them to touch to save your life. But when you take a positive to a negative, they seem to draw themselves. You know what that essentially says to us? Is that God will make you attractive to people who have a deficiency of what you have an excess in. God causes people who have a weakness in an area of their life to be drawn to the strength of that same thing that is in your life, so that the opposites attract. They have attracting power. But I want you to understand that He made you to be like a magnet. Not to draw everything and everybody, but you draw people that have the weakness, the negativity, where you are already positive and you're drawn together, and there's something that you balance each other off with. So you draw some, but you also repel some. You don't just take everything. There must be a dragnet that is a sorting device, so that you don't just swallow everything and everybody who comes your way. You have to be discriminating in the relationships, because while you cannot help everybody, you can help somebody. And it's your responsibility to use your discernment to find who are those that I am duty bound to actually help. So He made you to be just like a magnet, to attract some and to repel some. And this ought to also help you, that breakups are not always meant for makeups. Sometimes they are meant for wake-ups. And God will cause certain relationships to fall to pieces. I don't know who I'm talking to today, but He will cause some people's relationships to break up. Not for you to run back to each other and make up, but for you to wake up and say, what are you doing? Where am I in my life? What have I been doing? Where are the resources that I have wasted in my life? What am I doing? What changes am I going to make so that this does not continue in my life? And so breakups aren't always meant for makeups. Sometimes they are meant for wake-ups. And may I just remind you that letting go doesn't mean that you're giving up. It simply means that you're moving on. You don't mean any harm to anybody else. So when you let go, it's not saying that I'm giving up on life and giving up on people. It means that I am moving on. Don't allow your life to end because of somebody who walked out of your life and left you. Letting go means I am moving on. Don't carry dead weight around with you. It'll slow you down. Learn to be able to move on, find the right relationships in your life so that you can go and grow. If you're going to win in life, I want you to get this very carefully. If you are going to win in life, you're going to have to weed in life. When I say if you're going to win in life, you're going to have to weed. That is to weed out some people in your life. In every garden, what grows with produce, productive things, also come weeds. And you have to learn to weed it. You have to de-weed your garden. You have to weed out the things that will come and choke the life and the nutrition of that is to feed things that are fruitful in your life. So if you're going to win in life, you're going to have to learn how to weed out the other things that are nutrient suckers, pulling from you like parasites and taking the things that are designed for life givers in your life. You can't carry everybody with you to a victory. I want you to understand that. When God has called you and destined you to win in life, and I believe that I'm talking to a group of champions today. I believe that I'm talking to winners and overcomers today. But you can't carry everybody with you to a victory. You know why? Because not everybody wants to go to victory. Not everybody is willing to pay the price for victory. Victory comes at a price tag. And you have to learn that from what Gideon did in the 7th chapter of the book of Judges with his 300. Remember, he had to release the fearful. He started off with 32,000 people. And the Lord told him, He said, tell all of the fearful and the scared folks to go home. And immediately, 22,000 folks left. 22,000 scared folks left and left them with 10,000. So God disqualified them because he said, get rid of the fearful. Get rid of the fearful. If people don't believe that you can do anything, get rid of them. Get rid of them, the fearful. And then the second group, he says, take them down to the water. And then the ones, he said, watch how they drink the water. The ones who bend down on all fours and drink like a dog, notice them. And then notice the ones who will get on their knees and scoop the water up with their hands and bring it to their mouth. Because he says you're going to learn then the ones who are vigilant and the ones who are discerning, the ones who will cup the water in their hands and bring it to their mouth so that they can be aware of their surroundings, of other enemies. He says those are the ones that I want to use. And only 300 of them brought the water to their mouth with their hand. The others failed the test because it proved that they were non-thinking, that they were non-vigilant, that they were undiscerning. And those are the kinds of folks that you have to distance yourself from in your life. Number one, the fearful, and number two, the non-thinking, the non-vigilant, or the undiscerning. If you want people to leave you alone, stop reacting to them. It's really simple. If you want people to leave you alone, stop reacting to them. The only reason that people keep poking at you, messing with you, making fun of you is because they know how to push your buttons and get a reaction from you. If you stop reacting to their provocations, they'll stop it because it gives them no satisfaction when they realize they can't get up underneath your skin. I don't care, it could be baby mama drama, it could be baby daddy drama, whatever the case is. Stop reacting to it. Stop screaming and going off because they love to be able to see your passion. They want to see your pain. They really do. So if you want them to stop and leave you alone, stop reacting to them. And you have to be very discerning about the relationships. Remember, you have to take time to assess all of the relationships that are in your life. And if your entrance into somebody's life does not make an impact, then your exit will not make a difference. And you have to remember that very, very carefully about yourself. That if my entrance into your life does not make an impact, then my leaving won't make a difference. So you have to decide in your own life whose example is worth following with passion. Determine in your life who is it that provokes me to change, and discover who brings out the best in you. I like to think that a best friend is a person who brings out the best in you. Maxwell Maltz said that if you make friends with yourself, you'll never be alone. And I know a whole lot of people who need to make peace with themselves and make friends with themselves, because oftentimes our greatest enemy is the enemy within. Find those who believe in you and who encourage you. Eleanor Roosevelt said that no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. Nobody has the power to make you feel inferior without your consent. You have to enlist some prayer warriors. When you're talking about evaluating, reevaluate the people in your life, when you reevaluate the people, you need some prayer warriors. You need somebody who knows how to go before the throne of God and make intercession for you, people who will love you enough to pray for you. Figure out in your life who has ignored you and whom you should ignore. And you have to categorize the people who come into your life for a reason, those who come for a season, and those who come for a lifetime. And ask yourself, as you evaluate the people in your life, who are my mentors? Who are my mentors? Who are my heroes that I have? What is the character of those who are in my inner circle? I love something that Zig Ziglar said. He said, if people like you, they'll listen to you. But if they trust you, they'll do business with you. And you want to be a trustworthy person, so folks will do business with you. Not just listen to you, but do business with you. Have a real meaningful exchange with you. What is the level of zeal of those people who are in your life? Because remember, passionate people beget passionate people. Are you surrounded by other folks who have any real zest for living, passion for fulfilling their goals, folks that's really working on something? Or is it that you're the only one who's trying to do something about everybody who's in your environment? And if that is the case, I'm not saying to abandon them and forsake them, but I am saying that you've got to find a small group of people who are filled with passion. It could just be another one. All that Mary needed was one, her cousin Elizabeth, somebody that had something that was a miracle on the inside of them carrying that thing. But you have to realize that people with common problems, they are drawn to each other. Darkness attracts darkness. Broke people hang with broke people. Misery loves company. So you have to intentionally fellowship with those people that have your answer and start limiting your time with people who have your problem. But go after intentionally people that have your answer and people that exhibit the qualities that you desire. Understand that some people, as they come into your life, they come in as blessings. And others, when they come into your life, they come in as lessons. You know in your own mind right now every person who has come into your life as a blessing. Their names, images come into your mind. And you know everybody who has come into your life that hurt you, that betrayed you, that used you, that abandoned you. And you know that those were lessons. They taught you something. They helped to build a strength in you. So they're either a blessing or they're a lesson. And then you have to chalk it up to say, you know what, if they were a lesson and they have to teach me something, I count the blessing of the lesson that I learned. And so make it a blessing all the way around. Even if it was a lesson that was taught through a painful lesson, still acknowledge that it is a blessing nonetheless. But one of the greatest ways of getting your personal needs met is to find somebody who has a need in their life and help them to meet it. It's about this sowing and reaping thing, about give and then it shall be given to you. You reap what you sow. You reap what you sow. If you're trying to do something, help somebody else who's trying to do it. You'll bless your own life. Do you want access to certain people in your life? Have you ever seen a person and you said, you know what, I wish that I had a relationship with this person, or I wish I could talk to this person? May I give you a simple key as to how you can gain access with people that you want to meet or perhaps feel that you need to meet? Service and honor create access. Service and honor create access. When you honor a person, they'll make room for you in their hearts. When you serve a person in some way, they will make room for you in their life. But avoid intimate relationships with people who do not respect your dreams. Avoid intimate relationships with people who do not respect your dreams. And surround yourself with people who help to give you perspective of what you can be. Include people around you who's inspire ideas in you. Look for people, who inspire you to be more. People who inspire you to see more. People who inspire you to do more. People who inspire you to learn more. Because you end up being influenced by the attitudes, the values, and the beliefs of those that are around you. You are influenced, whether you realize it or not, but you are influenced by the attitude, the values, the beliefs, the language of other people that are around you. And I want to encourage you, guard your relationships. They're real treasures to you. Relationships come before rules. They come before rules. Never cut what you have the power to untie. Don't just cut something off if you've got the power to untie it and leave it intact. But assess the people who are currently in your life. Remember, there are only 4 basic types of people: those that add to you, those who subtract from you, those who divide you, and those who multiply you. And you can fill in the blank with people that'll pop into your head in each category. And I want to encourage you to build stronger relationship with those that add to you and multiply you, and limit your time with folks that subtract from you and divide you. The question is this: who is with you but not for you? Who is with you but not for you? It's a dangerous thing to carry people with you and they're really not for you. And what you do with people, what do you do when you realize, as you have gone through an assessment process? What do you do when you have gone through the assessment process and you realize that there are people who no longer fit in your life in terms of where you are? I want to give you three simple things. Number one, you redefine their role. Redefine their role in your life. Redefine their role. Number two, you reassign them to another area of your life. I mean, for example, if somebody's been really, really close, you have to reassign them from being a really close friend to being an acquaintance. You don't have to cut them off, but you are redefining their role. And then thirdly, after everything else, as I said, the first thing is to try to untie it, and then the last resort is to cut it. The third thing is that you have to release them, let them go. But you try to redefine them by helping to reshape who they are, creating new desires in them, challenging them to grow. Redefine them or reassign them in terms of their proximity to your life and the amount of time that you share with them and give them. And the third option is to release them. Because you've got to find that there are people that are in your life, some of them are parasites and some are proteges. A parasite wants what you've earned. A protege wants what you've learned. A parasite wants what's in your hand. A protege wants what's in your head and what's in your heart. A parasite wants your wealth, but a protege wants you to help them to discover their own. A parasite wants what you can give. A protege wants who you are. And I just want to tell you that the most vital of all of the relationships that you could ever have is a relationship with our Father, the relationship with the Holy Spirit who comes to indwell us. Because He leads us and guides us into all of the other relationships. You need to have that relationship right first so that you'll have the wisdom of God in the discernment of the other relationships that you are to include in your life. But it is time right now to start reassessing those people who are in your life. Reevaluate the people that are in your life, because your friends determine your future. Those that are closest to you will determine the level of success that you will reach in your life. It's time for you to reconnect with people who stir up gifts in you, who cause ideas to come forth, who urge you to become more spiritual in pursuing a stronger relationship with God through prayer, through reading the infallible, incorruptible, indestructible, ever-living seed of the Word of God. And I'm just telling you, that relationship that is the most preeminent of all relationships is a relationship of when we come into the contact of the holy and meet Jesus Christ in our own hearts and accept Him out of the willingness of our hearts.
Thank you for watching Power for Living with Bishop Dale C. Bronner. Join us again next time for Power for Living, where revelation is power. Power for living.